What up, YouTube?
For the old man.
Back. All the way back. That's right, we back with another episode. Episode number 5, OOTP Baseball. Bringing it to you almost live for episode number 5. All right, we got a real good show for you today. We got the 2027 MLB Draft as the major theme of this episode. We also have a few other things. So far, we have simulated through June of the season. We currently sit, as you see right here, in 4th place in the NL East with a 39-42 record, 8.5 games out of 1st place, 3 games under 500. Before we dive into the draft, first order of business we need to take care of is show the results of the June development update, which came on July 1st, which is where we are currently. All right, so I'm just gonna scroll through the list as we have been doing. If anything stands out, I'll call it out. Andres Silvera, all pluses. Steven Millen too, but he only had 2 of them. Heriberto Abalo had 4 pluses. Jaden Stroman, 4 minuses. That's not good. Kevin Case, same with him. Alright, so that's the quick update. From here, we hop over to the schedule. I want to say the draft is on the 11th, so let me just double check that. Yep, so I'm just gonna simulate up to the draft. We'll come back, show the results, and hop into the draft. All right, we're back. And what do you know? After ending June on a 3-game win streak, we started July with a 5-game win streak. You put the two together, that means we just came off of an 8-game win streak. But unfortunately, we followed that up with a 4-game losing streak heading into draft day, which is 7/11/2027. So if you take a look here, that puts us at 44-46 on the season. We're now 2 games under 500, 7.5 out of 1st place, so we gained a game, basically. Now, real quick, before we hop into the draft, just want to show the All-Star results. So here it is for the major leagues. I'll slowly scroll through the results for both teams, but I'll highlight our players that made the squad. So here's the American League team. Here's the National League team. All right, and then to highlight our players, if you haven't already spotted them, our second baseman, who I can't pronounce his first name, I think it's Zidane Rafaela. He's batting .278. His slash line, as one guy likes to say, the slash line, not one guy, I guess that's what they say, but his slash line is .278, 326. 403. He had 320 at bats, 6 home runs, 10 stolen bases. I'm not sure what WRC plus is. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But a 2.8 WAR, just real quick, a look at his profile page. This is his first All-Star appearance. That's pretty good. This is his second major league season. And he's a bit of a utility player, as you can see. Not only can he play second base, but he can also spot us in the outfield. That's good to know. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. So yeah, just 26 years old. Quick peek at his contract. Right now, he hasn't even hit arbitration yet. He'll be arbitration eligible in the offseason. So he might make a good prospect for an extension. All right, and then the other All-Star we have on the MLB team is our center fielder, Chas Chisholm.
Come on now, dog.
His slash line, 286, 362, 523. He's had 325 at-bats, 19 home runs, 18 stolen bases, 2.3 WAR. This is his second All-Star appearance in a row, second consecutive All-Star appearance, third in his career. 29-year-old, currently making $16 million. Take a quick peek at his contract. So yeah, $16 million this year, $16 million next year. But Jazz is getting it. 2 All-Stars in a row. That's pretty good. Money earned. All right, and then on the prospects, I'll just scroll down to show which one of our prospects made it. I think you might pronounce that Maurizio Churchill, a relief pitcher in our farm system. Quick peek at what he looks like. 19-year-old, 6'7", 205 pounds, from Pearland, Texas. And then Jaden Stroman, 20-year-old, 6'2", 200 pounds. We have him on the rookie. And remember, MAR 2 is the Dominican League where that mistake happened. All right, but anyways, time to hop into the draft. All right, so here's the draft page. As you can see, we have the number 2 overall pick, was number 1. We lost that in the lottery to the Angels, so we basically just swapped places with the Angels. I'll show the overall draft order. So we got second in the first round, and then first in the second round. We actually got We got 2 picks in the third round. The first pick as well as the 12th pick, so that's pretty good. And then number 1 from there on out. So that's pretty good, yo. So we go number 2, number 1. Then in the third round, we get number 1 and number 12. And then number 1 in each pick after that. All right. Okay, so before we get started with the draft, I just want to highlight and emphasize a few things here. One is the importance of the draft in terms of building the organization and our strategy for roster building. So what we're not going to be doing is we're not going to be signing a bunch of free agents every year. If we're lucky, we may get 1 or 2 here and there. The way we are going to build our rosters is going to be primarily through the draft and through trades. So the most important trading periods, the biggest one being the winter period, but then also too, there's another window I would say that we also showed an experience on here, which was just before opening day. So after spring training and before opening day, there could also be a few trades in between those two, the winter meetings and the start of spring training, but that would be few and far in between, right? And then the third trading window will be the window that falls right before the trading deadline at the end of July, right? So those are the three main trading windows. Trading can happen in between all of those windows, but it's rare. Then the other main roster building function are the other two, really, the international free agency and then the international free agents that get signed and developed throughout the season. But then also bigger than that is this, which is the draft. Right? So I say all of that to say we put a major emphasis on the draft. And being that we had a horrible team last year, we start off with really good picks this season. So we got to really capitalize on that. But also too, in terms of how we strategize within the draft, a really big thing that we go after, yes, we want to get players that have good attributes and good potential, but we also look heavily at personality traits. So one of the things that I like to do, as you can see, we're on the draft screen here, and before I even do anything with this, I just want to show I have a filter here. And on the filter, it's already set on a few things. So, and these are the things that we're looking at and that are important to us. So I have it on work ethic is normal or work ethic is high, right? So we only want to draft players who have at the very least a normal work ethic, and of course we definitely want the ones that have high work ethic. So I'm doing all this to filter out players who have less than a normal work ethic. Similarly with leadership ability and adaptability, we just have it filtered on normal for both of those two, but those are two attributes that I want as well. So that's what I'm trying to filter out for. So then when we look at these prospects, just know, one, this isn't everybody, but then also know, two, this then just allows us to focus on what we see here in front of us in terms of their attributes and their future potential. All right, that's one thing. Another point to emphasize and to note is that we definitely, we're gonna go after both college players and high school players, but the college players, just know the college players have a better chance of making it to the league. So you can get a college player who has like a 2-star potential and he'll have a pretty good chance of making it, depending on his other attributes. So all of that to say, college players are very important. And then also we covet left-handed pitchers as well as switch hitters and two-way players. Although I don't always go out to seek the two-way players, I definitely do seek lefties, left-handed pitchers and switch hitters, as well as speed. That's another thing that we covet. Anything else? Not that I can think of. So we might hop right into this. I'm not going to show the decision-making process from pick to pick because that'll really extend this episode out. What I'm going to do for each pick is just after I make the pick, I'm going to come back and show you who we pick and talk a little bit about that prospect. And hopefully this episode does not get too far out of hand. I try to keep these below a certain amount, which I won't state because it keeps changing, but we'll see. So yeah, so I make the first pick. This is the first round. We're going to make our pick and I'll be back and let you know who we land on. All right, we're back. We settled in on the pick. I forgot the other point that I wanted to mention real quick when I was talking about draft strategy. Another thing that we like to emphasize and go after are players that have a good amount of development. This is where those development leagues that I showed at the beginning of the series, this is where those come into play, right? Because basically those are the leagues that they get the development in. So we'll see that play out throughout this draft. This first selection, this player, he's the top guy on the board. Jorge Cartagena, a college pitcher out of the University of Oklahoma. Only thing with him is this dude is kind of greedy, yo.
Show me.
The recommended slot for this pick is 8.5 $1.29 million. He's requesting $12 million. But you know what? We're gonna pay it to him. Yep, that's right. You heard it. Yep, you heard me right. We're gonna pay him. To show his profile card, like I said, he's 21. He's a junior out of the University of Oklahoma. He's from Kenyon, Minnesota. Injury proneness is normal. I will go out of my way not to draft a player who is fragile. Injury proneness. Let's take a look at his. He doesn't have a fastball as a pitcher, but I believe he will be a nice complement to Yuri Perez in a few years. I think he'll get to the majors pretty quick. I think we'll see him in the majors within 2 to 3 years. He's already at 1.5 stars. His potential is 5. If you look at the stuff, movement, control, these are all high numbers where he could be an elite pitcher, I believe, if that all comes to fruition, if he develops it. The only thing, now, like I say, he doesn't have a fastball. I'm not concerned about that because we're pairing him with Yuri Perez in the bullpen. I don't like that he doesn't really have a changeup. That's the thing. So hopefully that can change. We'll keep an eye on that. So even though it shows that he has 4 pitches, he really kind of only has 3 pitches. We'll see how that plays out. Like I said, I like his stamina so far. Hopefully that continues to develop, or at least he can maintain it at the 65. And then if you look over here, this is his defensive defensive rating at the pitcher spot. That's a 50. I like good defensive pitchers. That doesn't mean I won't draft a pitcher who's not good defensive. And 50 is not the best, right? I forget what they say 50 is, but still, if he's a good defensive pitcher, I like that. All right. These are his stats right here, but I want to look at his stat page here so you can see the full extent of it. He played in the Cape Cod. Oh no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. That's the team.
Come on now, dog.
He played for Championship City Kings in the MLB Prospect League last year. He doesn't play for anybody this year, but he did that last summer. These are his stats. So 2 years of college, 1 year of development. Not that I think the stats really mean everything, but I do like to track, document, and look at that. You can see when he played in this league, his K to 9 rate dropped basically across the board. So these players are more, even though it says he played great competition in college. All right, so that's our first pick, Jorge Cartagena. All right, we're back and we have settled in on a pick for the our round 2 pick. We've settled in on Pat Cameron, another college player, this time a center fielder. He plays center field. He can play center field, but we're not necessarily drafting him to be our center fielder. But you never know. He could be. He's a college junior out of Tennessee Tech. Bonus demand is reasonable, 2.25. So if you just take a look at him real quick, he's currently in the Major League Baseball Prospect League, plays for Springfield Sliders. College competition level is just average, but that's fine. Now it says here bonus demand is 1.2. I think the other one may have been just the slot, but anyway. Take a look at his attributes. Although this isn't the greatest from home run down to avoid K, I think he can be a pretty good hitter for us in the future between his contact and gap power. And then over here is what I really like is his speed. His speed is 70, stealing is at a 60, base running is 65. He can also bunt, so he's good with the bat.
Hey, yo!
That all looks kind of like he almost has a leadoff hitter profile. So we could do a lot with him. And then as you can see here, his defensive rating, he's an outfielder all the way. He can play all 3 outfield positions, but he really projects as a left fielder. And then you see his defensive ratings. He has pretty good range, so he can definitely play center field. But then this outfield error, and his arm is decent. And then I'll just quickly show his batting stats. 2 years of college, but also 2 seasons of development. Again, in the Major League Baseball Prospect League. So it's all about the development. All about the development. All right, so that's pick number 2. We'll be back with the first of our 3rd round picks. We have, remember, pick 1 of the 3rd round as well as pick 12 of the 3rd round. So next up will be pick 1 of the 3rd round. All right, we're back. We've settled in on the pick for pick number 1 in round 3. It's a high school kid named Eric Strickland out of Houston, Texas. The Woodlands High School. Only thing is he's pretty pricey. $4.6 million bonus demand. But again, remember, we're not going to aggressively go after free agents. This, in a sense, is our free agency. It just comes with a lot of development. We won't see him right away. Being that he's a high school kid, this is high risk, but it's also high reward. So if we take a look at his profile, 18-year-old, again, like I said, out of Houston, Texas. He plays on the traveling team in the Perfect Game League, so he has the development component that we're looking for in our draft picks. Again, that doesn't mean we won't draft players who don't have any level of development, but the ones that do definitely have preference and are preferred. He's committed, so he's a high school senior committed to UA Little Rock, though he won't step foot on campus. We'll see to that. He meets the qualification in terms of normal injury proneness. He played against average competition level in high school. Alright, if you take a look over here at his profile, as a pitcher, his top 3 is decent and it can develop over time. I mean the potential of it is decent. The current is garbage, but again, that's where our development comes into play, not only with the developmental budget, but also the coaches we have on staff. He's a 4-pitch guy. That's one of the things I like about him. Fastball, slider, changeup, sinker, and his fastball is fairly developed for his age. It'll get better. I mean, it's not the best, but you know. Then if you look here at the summary, he has the velocity for a younger pitcher, 92 to 94. Stamina is 60. Hopefully it stays the same or gets better. His hold runner, it's okay, not the best, but that's okay. I tend to like that to be higher when I go after relief pitchers. So, and then he's a prime example of a pitcher who is not a good defensive pitcher. Quick peek at his stats. Only 1 year of high school ball as it shows, which I just interpret that to mean that he only started his senior year in high school, but he got the development this season, so he's getting that extra time in, and we'll let him play there throughout. So the way it works is when they're already on the development team, they'll stay there. We can pull them back to one of our minor league rosters if we want, but I don't ever do that. I let them stay with their development team, and then once that season is over, they'll automatically go to the lowest level of our minor league team, and from there their career starts. All right, but yeah, so this is the guy that we're rolling with the first pick in the 3rd round. Right-handed pitcher Eric Strickland, 6'4", 190, out of Houston, Texas. We'll be back with another 3rd round pick, pick 12. Hey, real quick, you know what? I just realized I have yet to make the selection for the 2nd, 3rd round pick that we have, but in prepping for the pick, I just realized that I completely overlooked a 3rd all-star that we have on our team. Bruh. I completely overlooked this. Henry Bolt, the young guy, the young gun, who we were saying we wanted him. He had 13 home runs last season. We wanted him to have a good season this year. So far, he has 24 at the All-Star break, which he is an All-Star. So yeah, I credit that to the coaching staff that we have in place. I mean, I credit Henry as well, but the coaching staff to come in and get this 23-year-old to the All-Star team, that's what's up. That's a big part of the reason why we're 44 and 46. All right, so I'll come back with the next pick. All right, we're back. We have the second of our third round picks, the 12th pick of the third round. We're taking another gamble. This is another high school pitcher, but this guy is a left-handed pitcher. He's also named Eric as well, coincidentally. So that's back-to-back high school pitchers named Eric. He's out of Albers, Illinois, or at least that's where he was born. Let's take a look at his profile here. He goes to Ellsbury High School, but that happens to be in Missouri, as they state in the bottom down here. Played against average competition. Committed to the University of Pittsburgh, where he will not step foot on their campus. He's a lefty. That's mainly why we're drafting him. So he's one of the best lefty pitchers left on the board, which is a coveted thing. Like I said, lefties and switch hitters, we try to get them, we try to make sure they're represented in our draft, let's put it that way. So we thought it would be a good time to take Eric Archer off the board. His bonus demand is only $1 million, so that's not bad. You take a look here at his attributes. He's a 4-pitcher guy. He has room for development, although his fastball is well along the way. Even though he's listed as a starting pitcher, I think he projects more as a bullpen guy. They say currently strictly bullpen, future starter, but I think he projects as a future bullpen guy as well, unless his stamina improves dramatically. It's currently at 45. I like that he can hold runners. That's up to 65. He's another pitcher who can't really defend too well, but we can overlook that with the left arm. Probably why he's good at holding runners. He's also another exception to the rule in that he's not a development guy, so he's not playing on any development teams. You take a look at his stats, he only has 1 year of high school stats, but it's a pretty darn good year. And even in high school, he looks like a reliever more than a starter. But yeah, that's Eric Archer, the second of the third round picks. And you know what? I'm just gonna throw it out there now. I'm not gonna record the entire draft in this episode because we're already well beyond how far I want to take this in terms of timing. So we're gonna make the next two selections in the draft, which will take us through round 5, and then we'll come back and in the next episode that'll be rounds 6 through 20 to wrap up the draft. So we'll come back here with the next pick, which will be the 4th round pick. We have the first pick in the 4th round, and that's coming up next. All right, we are back, ready to make the 4th pick. We have the first pick in the 4th round, and it looks like we are going to roll with a guy by the name of Colt Myers. He's a little bit on the older side at 22 years old, but he's still a college junior. Currently plays third base, but we have plans to convert him to become a first baseman. One thing I really like about him too is, as you can see, he comes fairly cheap. The slot for this round is $750,000. He comes in at $75,000 is his demand. So let's look at his profile. He's out of the University of South Florida, St. Augustine, Florida. Like I said, he's 22, but just over 22 and 78 days. And when you look at his attributes, the one chink in his armor is his avoid Ks. I'm trying to get to the point where I avoid guys who strike out a lot, but he still has fairly good eye discipline and the potential for that to be really good. So hopefully that'll counterbalance the really low avoid K, and hopefully he can develop that over time. Now what I like about him is this power rating. His gap in power rating can be helpful, let's put it that way. And as you can see here, the case for converting him over to first base from third base. I also like his loyalty and work ethic. And then as you saw as well, his financial ambition is really low. So that's also good. And then he fits our profile criteria. He's a developmental guy, so 3 years in college plus 2 years of developmental ball. He played in the MLB Prospect League for 2 summers. He's not there now, but I would imagine that the 2 years that he played there helped a little bit. I don't know, maybe, but that's it. That's the 4th round pick for the draft, Colt Myers. We'll come back with the 5th round pick and then wrap things up for this episode. All right, we're back, and we have made the selection for the 5th round. The first pick in the 5th round is gonna go to The first pick of the 5th round is gonna go to Robbie Barber out of Bonita Springs, Florida, a junior college JUCO freshman, 19-year-old. Right-handed pitcher, 6'4", 195. Take a look at his profile. We expect him to be a bullpen guy. He could potentially develop into becoming a closer. Played against fair competition at the JUCO level. Should be an easy slot signing. Look at his profile. Says 3 pitches, but he's really a 2-pitch guy. Fastball, sinker. He's a sidearm pitcher, so that's like I want to say that's the first sidearm pitcher. This is the 4th pitcher of the draft so far that we selected. One thing I want to point out too about this pitcher is this is the first 2-way guy. As you can see, it's showing his outfield attributes, or potential attributes, I should say. Yeah, so if you see here, his outfield potential, he's also an outfielder. So Robbie Barber is a pitcher and an outfielder. We can definitely use him. This will be our 5th round pick. This will also be the final pick that we make of this episode. We're gonna wrap things up about here. We'll come back in the next episode to complete the draft. We will run through rounds 6 through 20. Being that I want to highlight each pick like I'm doing here, it's going to take this episode well beyond where I would want for it to go from a time-wise perspective. So we're going to come back and wrap up the draft on the next episode. Thank y'all for watching.
For the old man.
Peace.